Since Sonic has been around for over 30 years, there have been a lot of games, and each game usually brings about its own story and adds to the overall lore of the franchise. There are story elements introduced over 30 years ago which are still relevant today and probably will continue to be in future titles. In that time though, there are still many questions fans have that haven't actually been answered in any meaningful way, or it's still a debate as to what the true answer is. I have my own questions. Some I have a very good idea what the answer probably is, and others I'm clueless. But let's get into it. First, how did Sonic meet Eggman? Now this is a question I have for the game canon version of Sonic, not the non-canon continuities, as some of these have been answered already. According to the original Japanese manual of Sonic 1, it states that Dr. Eggman, the evil genius scientist, has begun to embrace his evil ways again. The use of the word again could imply that this isn't the first time Sonic and Eggman have met. I did hear of the headcanon that Sega Sonic the Hedgehog takes place before Sonic 1 and that is where Sonic and Eggman met, but as of now this is only headcanon and not actual confirmed fact. In fact, in Sonic Forces, Infinite states that Sonic has beaten Eggman for decades, plural. Now, we are never given actual proper time frames between games, but I doubt Sonic 1 takes place over 20 years before Forces. This line is questionable in reliability to be fair, as it isn't even in the Japanese script, and also presents a lot of issues if we take it at face value, but I just wanted to mention it. Moving on though, apparently when Big Red Button were deciding on a story for Sonic Boom, they wanted to do an origin story of Sonic meeting Eggman and how their feud came to be. Funnily enough, the working title for Sonic Boom was actually Sonic Origins way before the 2022 collection, but this name was obviously changed. Sega told them however not to do this, as they may want to tackle it themselves one day in the main canon. This still hasn't happened yet, but it does make me think that this is further evidence that Sonic 1 was not their first meeting. Maybe one day we'll find out, but as of now we don't know. Why is Eggman evil despite coming from a good family? Like Sonic, Eggman's past isn't really known about, bar the odd hint here and there. Of all of Eggman's family members, that being Gerald, Maria, her sister, his unnamed uncle and his own father, all of them seem to be good-natured people. Well, at least at first for Gerald before he went crazy, but for the rest incredibly so. Maria is good-natured all the way through and through, and while we don't know much about hers or Eggman's father's or her sister, there doesn't seem to be any indication that they were evil. There are subtle hints as to what led Eggman to become like this though, as if you listen to some of the Egg members in Sonic Frontiers, one of them details how he never knew his cousin Maria and how there was so much love for someone who was gone when he was right there.
I never really knew my cousin Maria. Everyone spoke of her like she was very special. All that love for someone who was gone when I was right there!
Maybe he felt neglected of attention? It would explain why he puts his own likeness into almost everything he makes. Also, in Shadow Generations, in Gerald's journal, it states that Gerald focusing on the experiments on the Ark with Maria caused conflict in the family, even stating that there was growing rift between the sons. It's unknown if Eggman was even born yet at this point, but if he was, it could at least be part of the reason why he ended up like this. Where do the Chaos Emeralds come from? For over 30 years, the Chaos Emeralds have been given no clear origin as to where they come from and how they came to be. It was only recently in Sonic Frontiers where we got some actual lore on them informing us that they came from space. At first there's only 6, then 7, then 8, and then back to 7 where it stayed like that forever. There was also 16 that one time in Spinball, but I don't think that game is canon as there are SatAM characters in it. The 8th Chaos Emerald from Sonic the 5 was later revealed to actually be the Warp Topaz. I don't think Sega ever had a clear origin in mind when they initially made them. A lot of the civilization in Sonic had a history with the Emeralds, but their true origin is still a mystery. Maybe we'll find out, but as of now we don't know. Why is Shadow a Hedgehog? At this point everyone knows Shadow's backstory and how he came to be. He was created by Gerald Robotnik to be the ultimate life form and to find a possible cure for Maria Robotnik. I just wanted to know why he is specifically a hedgehog. In the games we know there was a prototype for the ultimate life form which was the Bio-Lizard. For years we wondered why this was the case, but in Shadow Gens we learned that the Bio-Lizard was originally a regular salamander, and it was chosen as the base due to salamanders having regenerative properties and their small size. Ironic considering how large it grew. Anyway, we are given no such reason for why Shadow was modeled after a hedgehog. We do know that he has Black Arms DNA unlike the Bio-Lizard, but that only explains the black and red stripes. So why does Shadow resemble a hedgehog then? He can't be based on Sonic as Sonic wasn't around at the time, and he wasn't a regular hedgehog who was enhanced like how the Bio-Lizard was originally a small salamander. There is a very popular theory that Gerald modeled Shadow on the mural found in Hidden Palace Zone depicting Super Sonic fighting Eggman, which is why Shadow's spines in base look like how Supersonics did at the time. This theory holds weight as we know Gerald did research the Echidna Clan and Angel Island, as he specifically rebuilt the Master Emerald Shrine on the Ark to mimic the one on Angel Island. It was also theorized that the Bio-Lizard was based on the Perfect Chaos mural in the Lost World stage of Sonic Adventure, but we know now this isn't the case. There's no official answer, but I like to think that the Angel Island mural theory is the reason. It makes way too much sense for it not to be the case, at least in the game universe. In the Sonic X continuity it doesn't work, and we don't even know about movie Shadow's origin, and Boom is probably different too. What are the ages of the Sonic characters? Now, I never used to think about it too much, but for some reason it keeps being brought up, so now I wonder. We used to know of the ages of the main Sonic characters officially on the Sonic Channel website, but they were quietly removed by Sega a few years ago with no explanation. I think this is due to a number of reasons, such as inconsistencies with characters' ages changing, and them not wanting to explain why their characters never seem to age between games, despite time clearly passing. Hell, Forces alone was over 7 months. I don't think a specific number to each character's age matters too much, but I do wonder sometimes. At the moment, I just headcanon as most of the characters being teens, with some of the younger characters like Tails, Charmy, Cream, Ray, and some others being children, and then characters like Big, Vector, Vanilla, and Storm being adults. I heard that some people think that this is why they're so much taller than the rest of the cast, which I can agree with. Shadow is a bit of an anomaly, so I'm not going to get into that. Maybe Sega will address the characters' ages again in the future, but as of now, we don't know. And that was just some of the questions I have about the Sonic lore. There's definitely more questions I have than just these 5, but I couldn't fit them all into just one video. What about you guys? What do you think? Any questions you have? Let me know in the comments, and have a good day.